not able to control his sexual urge, then why would he not adopted simple left the monkhood and he would have gone to any normal life. So that was a serious question, and I also thought seriously about this. So what I would tell you, he was a monk. He accepted himself as a monk, and then after that, fell in love, and then this is so much of is happening. So why was not easy for him to come back in a normal life, and why this much fuss is there all? Then because last time I have told you, it was I think introduction, and this time right now today I'm trying to take you inside the text. Okay, and first and all, I try to understand the text. So my primary reading is the text. If any text is prescribed, I have to understand text primarily, and discussing Letters of Abelard and Heloise, translated with an introduction and notes by Betty Redis, revised by M.T. Clenchy. So this is the primary text I am taking here. It is a translation by Betty Redis. And what is Betty Redis? Bettyraddice. It's a Wikipedia information is there. The basic information, if you want to know about this writer, Wikipedia is available. You can go through that. That is you can discuss. Now, first let's go to the front page. The front page which is given, and why this front page is so significant. Betty Redis has taken this front page as a cover page for her translation work. और इसका explanation मैं आपको देने की कोशिश करती हूँ. Why this is so? Because if you see the front page cover, two picture are there. One seems to be male or another seems to be female, because attire which they are putting, the other person, the black, this attire which a person is wearing, it seems as if she is a woman. ऐसा दिख रहा, it seems as if she's a woman, and because burqa type लग रहा, a man, because his hairs are visible, and it seems like man. So this is a picture, and why this picture is significant, which Betty has taken it as the cover page for her translation. What is this? Why this is so? Let me explain you. If you see the picture, on the top of the picture, two lines are there. They are written in red color, and there are two lines in down. They are written in black color. These two lines are so significant. Why this is so important? So these two lines are. I'm giving you the reference of these two lines. Okay, and what is this picture? Now let me give you the reference about the picture and these two lines, and these are the lines I am reading from the text. Okay, Abelard and Heloise are known as on the front cover debating about love and marriage, as described by Jean de Meun in the Roman de la Rose. Roman de la Rose, we all know it is a significant text, and why this is significant, we all know this. The contrast between them is stark. Abelard is dressed in the fine cloth of a layman, despite being a cleric and a master of the schools, whereas Heloise is garbed as a nun. This depicts the critical time when he removed her to the convent of Argenteuil and vested her as a nun, even though he continued to visit her and have sexual intercourse. As a consequence, her family believed that he had repudiated her, and they took vengeance by castrating him. Castration was a way to punish. It was a way to punish a person who is discarding the regulations set by the religious authorities. So this punishment was given to him. Now these lines which I'm trying to read out. The rubric, the two lines in red above the miniature, is explanatory. It reads, it's Lent, Heloise, Lebes, Entroit, Pierre, Abelard. How Peter Abelard instruct Heloise. So the meaning of these two red lines on the top of the picture is how Peter Abelard instruct Heloise. How Peter Abelard instruct Heloise. However, the hand gestured in the miniature show Abelard and Heloise engaged in debate rather than instruction. The two lines in the black read, Pierre Abelard li confess, qui shore Heloise Lebes, Peter Abelard confessed that Sister Heloise, the abbess, never wished to agree to be his wedded wife. These are the 2 lines significant. Now, these 2 lines talk a lot about what we are going to study. These 4 lines. Let us discuss this picture first, then 2 red line, 2 black line. And through this, we are trying to understand. Roman de la Rose is one of the most significant texts we know. I mean, this is a text, this is a poem which is so popular and talks about medieval time and religious ethics and all. It's very significant. Now, the picture of these 2 scholars, now I will be talking you the most significant aspect, most significant things which you actually can formulate your answers. So what I'm trying to say, these 2 lines, see, let's understand the significance of this text. It's a remarkable, it's a classical text. It's available in audiobooks also. आप कहीं भी, wherever you are traveling, कहीं भी आप जा रहे हो, you are free. आप अपना YouTube पे just type audiobook Letters of Abelard and Heloise और you can listen it. मैंने इस किताब को 2-3 बार सुन लिया है ना? I have listened it. And this book is available in audio form. This book is available in number of fractions. Audio में सबसे best है because whenever you are there, within 2 days you will be able to listen it completely. It's a most beautiful way of pronunciation. American accent सुन सकते हैं, British accent सुन सकते हैं, and moreover, it's a classic. It's a classic. So what I'm trying to say is, now these 2 lines, Roman de la Rose is one of the significant texts which we know, all of us know. Okay, so putting the picture of these 2 scholars, I am repeatedly calling Heloise as a scholar. I'm not telling Heloise, Abelard and Heloise. I'm repeating 2 words. 1 word for both the scholar. And why scholar? Because you see, it's a medieval time. And a woman, there is a reference, there is a quote I'm telling from the letter of Heloise, where she says, even if the King Augustine comes and asks me to marry, I would be more happy to be your whore than wife of King Augustine. So you can understand Heloise, a woman of scholarly attribution, a woman of so much knowledge. She's denying to the marriage of a king who could provide her much comfort and best of the life's opportunities if she's marrying to him. But she is preferring to be the whore of Abelard. And why she's denying for marriage? Because, marriage, the question which has been raised in the beginning, it was very significant question. We'll answer that question. But before that, let me explain you that, see, the simple word I can say that it was not possible for them to come out of the situation which they were there. It's not easy. Right now, you see all of your professors and your teachers, they are married and they are having children and still they are teaching. Because it is an evolution. It has taken many centuries, and after that we are in a position that, we have started giving values to the human mind, human desire, human beings. The time which we are here right now studying this Abelard and Heloise, it's not the time where human individuals are so significant. It's the organization and the religious authorities are significant here. So that is why it's not easy. It's nothing easy that you just come out and get into the wherever you want. And it is also not a lust, or he was not so desperate for the sex, but it's a simple admission, because whatever had happened, Heloise has to go through a lot of pain and suffering. She gave birth to a child. After that, she was not able to meet her own child. And it was a very painful life they have gone through. He was castrated. He was thrown out from the school. It was all of his reputation, gone. And he suffered a lot. And why he suffered, why he chosen this, why he's discarded, why there are so many enemies, there is a reason behind this. Because he is sticking to his teaching. What he believed, what he thought of, that we will come to the points. So, you can understand the significance of these 2 scholars who are being given the front page cover. You see what Abelard is trying to say. Abelard is trying to say here that, physical need, the way you eat, the way you breathe, the way you want. I mean, we are from different places, so we have peculiar taste, language, culture, everything. We are brought up in that way. These are all human nature. Okay, so it's not like he's not trying to make his love as a spiritual one also. It's not like that. He's saying that this is the physical need which I feel. And Heloise is also expressing that many nights she could not sleep even. And, she was remembering those pleasures. So it's nothing like they are not feeling shameful for their physical lust. It is so natural. And that's what we are understanding right now in this present century, that individualism, whatever human desires are there, whatever human values are there, what is humanism? I mean, humanistic approach. You just be a lay person. So these are simple desires. Right now I'm teaching you and I'm feeling hungry, which is so natural. Okay. So I cannot be like, I never feel hungry when I'm teaching class and I don't feel like that. And these are all show off. It's so natural that I feel hungry, I feel sleepy, I feel tired. These are so simple. But people don't admit it. People don't want to admit because they feel ashamed of it. And what he's trying to say? He's trying to say that whatever we are going through, whatever desire we developed, whatever desire we had, this is so natural. It is nothing to do with the religion. Even if I'm having a relationship with anyone, I could be the best scholar who can interpret religion. But what is that? The characteristics is much more significant, which is here right now the precondition to become the nun and monk. That's what he's trying to say, that even if whatever, maybe I eat veg, I eat non-veg, whatever my food habits are there, clothing patterns are there, my climate is there, my gender, age, color, whatever it is there, but despite all these, I can become a best theologian. Despite this, I can become the best interpreter. Despite this, I can read Latin, I can interpret Latin, French, anything. These are the things which he's trying to put in the way. But right now, if you see the situation which is there, the social, religious conditions are there, they do not permit him. So nothing, we can't say that he's trying to become a spiritual and he's trying to hide it also. He's talking so simply. आज हम feminism की बात करते हैं. When we talk about feminism, every single issue related to women is so significant. एक कविता पढ़ी थी मैंने, बहुत सुंदर कविता, कि बुद्ध अगर तुम स्त्री होते, बुद्ध अगर तुम स्त्री होते, बुद्ध अगर तुम औरत होते तो इतना आसान नहीं होता, इतना आसान नहीं होता गृह त्याग, शाम के ढलते ही तुम्हें हो जाना पड़ता नजरबंद अपने ही घर और अपने ही भीतर, हजारों की अवांछित नजरों से बचने के लिए। वैसे भी माँ होते अगर तुम, राहुल का मासूम चेहरा रोक लेता, तुम्हारे स्तनों से चुआने लगता दूध, फिर कैसे कर पाते तुम पार कोई भी विधि समाज की। घने जंगलों में प्रवेश करने और तपस्या में तुम्हारे बैठने से पहले ही शीलवान तुम्हें देखते ही स्खलित होने लगते और जंगली पशुओं से ज्यादा सभ्यों के भय खाते तुम ब्राह्मण तुम्हारी योनि में करते अनुष्ठान और क्षत्रिय शास्त्रार्थ को भी वही मिलता स्थान। वैश्यों ने पढ़ने की तरह बेच कर दिया होता वैश्या तुम्हें, और ये कहने में कोई गुरेज नहीं है मुझे कि शूद्रों का भी होते तुम आसान शिकार। औरत के मामले में होते हैं सब पुरुष अभिशप्त जीवन जीने को जब होते मजबूर, तब बताओ कैसे मिलता बुद्धत्व, कैसे तुम्हें कहलाते बुद्ध। You know, we have point again. The front page we have discussed. Upper two lines are there, lower two lines are there, and now we are focusing the internal part of this text. And there are certain things which are very specifically I have made it for you. Now let me start from the beginning. There are some 4-5 events which are very significant in life of Abelard and Heloise. Peter Abelard, he was a teacher, and why in the beginning Betty is also saying, and let me just read out, you will understand it very well. Peter Abelard was a French scholastic philosopher and the greatest logician of the 12th century. Why Peter Abelard? Heloise we are reading. Now the significance lies here. Peter Abelard was a French scholastic philosopher and the greatest logician of the 12th century. He taught mainly in Paris, where his fame attracted students from all over Europe and laid the foundation of the University of Paris. Now listen, why this is so significant. He taught mainly in Paris, where his fame attracted students from all over Europe and led the foundation of the University of Paris. Heloise was his pupil, and after the tragic end of their love affair and marriage, she became a nun, and Abelard a monk in the Abbey of Saint Denis. He continued to teach theology, but his orthodoxy led to open conflict with Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, and his condemnation by the church. His last months were spent under the protection of Peter the Vulnerable, and he died in Cluniac Priory. Heloise became abbess of convent of Paraclete, which Abelard founded, and was acclaimed of her learning, her poetry, and her music. So, and you know what is significant here? In the same text, if you see, they have written number of songs also. Number of songs and number of other things also. It's not like it's a correspondence between these two people. Okay, so that's how this love affair is not a love affair. Okay, it's a freedom of expression, freedom of your choice. And what is educational institutions are out of religious influence right now. You see the progress, okay? You see the development which as a human being we have gone through. So religion is exclusively away from education. We have medical colleges, we have humanities faculties, we have law, we have all other things, but it is not related that a temple or anything which is running the institution. Even if the church is also running institution, the religious practices are different, and the teaching and the syllabus which is being taught in the university is different. So that's how, even if you are a head of the religious organization, and not necessarily you are teaching, you will be entitled for that. So we have a separate institution now, education, and which is from the beginning to till you complete higher education, that is away from religion. Here, right now in medieval time, this situation is things which are there in the syllabus, because you could understand the life here, that the church is one of the main significant institution, and everything, governance and teaching and everything comes out of church. And there are people who devote their life to serve the church, or they devote their life to involve themselves in the religious teaching and learning process. So obviously the syllabus is already there, and let me just read out the syllabus. Okay, so the accepted course of higher education at this time and for a long time to come was that of seven liberal arts. Okay, the trivium, consisting of grammar and rhetoric, which were the study of classical Latin, language and literature, and logic, a dialectics as it was called, following by the quadrium, the science of geometry, arithmetic, astronomy, and music. Beyond these lay the highest studies of theology, canon, law, and medicine. Abelard never showed more interest in science, and his knowledge of mathematics was elementary. He evidently decided at the start to concentrate on the trivium, and in particular on logic. And logic में उसने एक specific वो चुना, dialectics. Okay, Greeks had been masters of logic, but at this time there was very little knowledge of their work. Abelard is not thought to have known any Greek, and he knew of Aristotle was mainly from Porphyry's introduction to Aristotle's categories and Aristotle's de-interpretation, both in a Latin translation by the 6th century Roman scholar Boethius. Logic covered both linguistic logic and theory of meaning of the words and sentences. So, and formal logic, the theory of correct manner to synthesize known fact and to draw conclusion. It was an instrument of order in a chaotic world, and in Abelard's hand it could provide a genuine intellectual education for his students. His unwavering determination to apply the rules of logic to all fields. Now, you know what is? He's actually focusing on logic, and which comes out of the branch of dialectics. And that's how he's interpreting logic. and logic interpretation in his own way. That's how Betty, in the beginning, she has told. What she said, that he was the most authentic scholar of his time. He is not going for the established interpretations which are already existing. And he's not bothering even whether he is challenging the institutions which are already there. But he is giving his own interpretation, and that has brought a serious conflict of his with Saint Bernard of Clairvaux. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux is a very established authority. Okay, Saint Bernard of Clairvaux is a venerated saint, and he was a major leader of revitalization of Benedictine monasticism. Benedictine monasticism क्या है? Actually, Saint Bernard, like Benedictine monasticism, these are the set rules and regulations for the people who are involved in the teaching and preaching. And these are the clear-cut rules and regulations which are so decided already. And Saint Bernard of Clairvaux was actually he himself set most of the rules. So the person who is establishing the rules and regulation, and someone new who comes and challenge suddenly the set and practiced rules and regulations will definitely create a lot of problems. So there was a lot of conflict which was going on. Ultimately, because of Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, Abelard had to leave his place, and he was forced to move away because of his new teaching patterns, because of this logical pattern, because of his involving humanism in the teaching. Many of the students were attracted towards him, and it was a trend during this time that any person who is involved in the teaching and preaching, they can establish their own schools also. They can establish their own new ideology as well, new patterns, and that created a threat in the establishing systematic pattern which was already there. And that's how there was a huge conflict and debate between these two great scholars who are there. Now, Betty, I have already told you, please go through the introduction of Betty Redis and the text which we are there. This introduction is very significant for you. Now, there is another scene which we see. Betty Redis call him as a, आप इसको quote भी कर सकते हैं. It's an introduction from the text which you have to mention. Wandering scholar. Okay, आप इसको quote कर सकते हैं. When you are writing your answer, you can quote this. W-A-N-D-E-R-I-N-G, wandering scholar. And how is wandering scholar? Because he never stayed at one place, or he was not allowed to stay at one place. Wherever he went, he created controversy. Either through his teaching, either through his challenging the existing system, and through this affair with the Heloise also. So that's how he's challenging. He's challenging practically, involving in the act which is prohibited exclusively. And the pattern he's adopting for the teaching is also controversial. People are not ready to accept him. But because he is giving something new, something logical, something authentic, many students, almost, by the time, I was reading some other paper, J Store पे पेपर होता है, उसमें मैं पढ़ रही थी, तो एक टाइम ऐसा हुआ, किसी के भी पास स्टूडेंट नहीं रहे. Everybody was moving towards Abelard. And what he is covering logic, he is covering linguistic logic, and he's trying to give the new meaning to the words. Okay, theory of meaning of words. What is this? Prominent, exploration he's doing in the knowledge is theory of meaning of words. See, words are there. Bible is there. Bible is written. Whether it is written in whatever language is there. But the words and meanings are not changing. Okay, so the word is there. How do you interpret that word? It depends on you. So you believe the interpretation which is already come, or you give new interpretation. Now this new interpretation which you are trying to give, it might hurt many people. It might not be comfortable for many people. So would you worry about that, or you will go on? If you are putting your own opinion, then you have to face consequences also. So that's how what is saying his main, let me say, his main expertise in logic dialectics. Okay, he is a thorough follower of Aristotle, and we all know how logistic and how authentic Aristotle is there. So in 6th century, a Roman scholar who is, the logics and the interpretations has been given. He's bringing different scholars from the ancient time, and he's trying to put new words, new logic, new interpretation, which was not acceptable by many of his scholars. So there are 4 events which I was talking in the beginning. They are very significant in his life. What is that? First, he is the pioneer of establishment for the University of Paris. Remember this. Okay, number 1. Number 2, he was favored by, because when in his last time, he was ill, and now you can understand. See, you just try to understand. It's just like as a human being, as a person, whosoever you are born, as a male or female, or maybe your sexual identity is not so clear, whatever it is there, but whatever identity you have been born, no one has a right to chop it or change it. And our identity is our proud, our identity is our reason to live. And if somebody is hurting and destroying that identity, then what is the purpose to live? But even if after that he was castrated, his testicles were removed, eunuch word use किया है. Betty Redis is also using the word eunuch. Okay, हिजड़ा. एक आदमी से हिजड़ा बना दिया उसे, उसके बावजूद वो सर्वाइव करता है और वो फिर अपना स्कॉलरली एट्रीब्यूशन एस्टेब्लिश करता है. So it's a very big struggle. It's not a struggle for his own physique, but I think it's a complete paradigm shift, upside down. But he never changed his opinion, what he wanted to interpret. So 4 events you have to remember. One is, he is the pioneer to establish University of Paris. Peter Vulnerable supported him, and Saint Bernard of Clairvaux was he was damn against him. And finally, at the place of Cluniac, a priori, he died. Okay, he died. And they died separately. Now, the most significant thing will come when we'll start reading the letters. Okay, I'll give you, gist or summary of every single letter, not from anywhere, but from the text itself. And it was like he started a new movement. That was disputation. That is disputio. Disputio. Okay? This was a statement. This was a movement he started, disputio. And we can understand, it is self-explanatory that disputio, it was a new teaching to replace the traditional one. New teaching to replace the traditional one. This is new teaching to replace the traditional one. The movement started by Abelard. And another thing, he emphasized on scripture. Okay. He focused on scripture the way we are focusing on the text, because I don't know French, so I can't read the French original text. So that's why the most very near and significant translation, we are focusing on that. And that's how we are almost near to the same thing. Now, why he's focusing on scripture? Because he's more interested in the reinterpretation of the scripture. See, most of the thing, if you see in all the religions, the religious text is not a problem. The interpretation has made everything problematic. Scripture pe interpretation, he's focusing on the interpretation for the scripture. And scripture is same. Okay, एक बड़ा significant thing है. There is one very significant statement. Please listen carefully. If you want to understand 12th century Renaissance, अगर आपको Renaissance पढ़ना है, समझना है 12वीं शताब्दी का, then who is the pioneer of that Renaissance in 12th century? Peter Abelard. That is a statement given by Betty Redis. If you want to understand the Renaissance in 12th century, if you want to understand the 12th century Renaissance का मतलब होता है rejuvenation. Renaissance मतलब rebirth. हमारे देश में भी Renaissance आया था जब ज्योतिराव फूले he started the movement for educating untouchable women. That was a Renaissance in India. And if you see, that is a modern Renaissance. They are trying to alter everything. What society and what religious scriptures they are setting rules for. मनुस्मृति क्या कहती है वो discard करते हैं completely. मनुस्मृति has a very bad opinion about women. बोल भी नहीं सकते. Phule is questioning. So Phule is questioning and Phule started Renaissance in India. आप गुलामगिरी पढ़िए. You know what is that? According to Varna system, ब्रह्म है ना, ब्रह्मा के मंदिर भी है वो, उसमें पुष्कर में भी एक मंदिर है ब्रह्मा का. He is the originator of the earth. और ब्रह्मा से ही 4 वर्ण निकले, ब्राह्मण, क्षत्रिय, वैश्य, शूद्र. So ब्राह्मण निकला मुख से, क्षत्रिय भुजाओं से, वैश्य झंगा से और पैरों से शूद्र निकला. This is what the theory that 4 varnas are being born out of Brahma. And Brahma has given birth to 4 varna. From his mouth, Brahmin is being born. From his arms, Kshatriya is being born. Thank you so much.